Market to Market is everywhere you are. Subscribe to Market on YouTube, find us on the PBS video app to stream on demand, and add our 3 podcasts on your favorite podcasting app.
No carbon pipeline!
After rallying in vain against the Dakota Access Pipeline, activists in Iowa brought reinforcements to push back on a new proposal to transport a different hazardous material beneath the state's fertile landscapes.
Dakota Access, we did not win with the Iowa Utilities Board because we didn't have the support of the landowners. But because of Dakota Access, we saw the damage it does to the land. People are now aware that this is not a good thing.
Complaints of crop loss and soil issues have followed since 2017, when Dakota Access began pumping over 500,000 barrels of Bakken crude per day across 4 Midwestern states. The Midwest Carbon Express, the first of 3 similar proposals to seek final approval from Iowa regulators, would annually transport 20 million tons of liquefied CO2, captured as a byproduct of corn-based ethanol production from plants in Iowa, Nebraska, Minnesota, and the Dakotas, to sequester in an underground reservoir in North Dakota.
The IUP welcomes public comments.
The Iowa Utilities Board has final say on pipeline construction permits, and stakeholders who've dug in their heels fear the board will grant eminent domain again.
CO2 is an asphyxiant. CO2 is heavier than air, and it can flow to low-lying areas. Based on a demonstration in Europe with an 8-inch line, if there is a leak or rupture, every living thing within 1,300 feet will be dead in less than 4 minutes.
According to IUB officials, as of mid-July, boards of supervisors in 25 of 30 counties affected have formally objected to the route over use of eminent domain. Proponents prefer the voluntary easements they've secured from over 650 landowners so far, about 40% of the 680 miles needed in Iowa.
If you take a step back and say, why are we doing this project? It's to make ethanol more profitable. We think this will be as transformational as the original renewable fuel standard was for Iowa landowners and the landowners across the 5 states that we're operating in. That ethanol plant's going to make more money. That farmer's going to make more money long term. It's going to support land values, and it's going to support those local communities.
Justin Kirchhoff is president of Summit Ag Investors, parent company of Summit Carbon Solutions, which has proposed the $4.5 billion pipeline. Kirchhoff says an average ethanol plant stands to make an additional $15 million per year when partnered with Summit. Summit claims the project will support 360,000 jobs and, in Iowa, generate $73 million in state and local taxes during construction and continue filling coffers during operation.
I think the scar tissue of Dakota Access in many ways has actually brought out a lot of good new regulation.
A farmer himself, Kirchhoff says the Iowa legislature and the Iowa Utilities Board have tightened up pipeline requirements, and Summit has vowed to cover lost yields. The ethanol industry has been actively working to lower emissions for years. Summit claims new federal climate priorities make their project viable.
If ethanol has the ability to get their carbon footprint lower than an electric vehicle, we need to take advantage of those incentives and build the infrastructure out and make them more competitive long term.
According to global financial conglomerate KPMG, U.S. Code Section 45Q tax credits reward carbon sequestration, but also pertain to use in enhanced oil recovery or fracking. Summit denies their product will be used for fracking and say their petition for a hazardous liquid pipeline permit clearly spells out their intentions.
The pipeline is supposed to be 4 foot deep, and most of my tile are buried 3 to 5 feet deep. I can't imagine that my tile system will ever work as good as it does today.
Farmer turned activist Dan Tronchetti doesn't buy it, pointing to a spring 2021 Bismarck Tribune article with Summit CEO Bruce Rastetter, a high-profile Iowa GOP donor, who said the company was exploring other gas injection options.
We had one additional rulemaking open.
Opponents cry foul on myriad political connections associated with the pipeline and blame such clout for sluggish review in the state legislature.
Things like these pipeline issues are what remind us that our value systems are actually the same. It's the political system that's telling us that we're so different.
Iowa Sierra Club Conservation Coordinator Jess Mazur says unlikely allies in the fight have been seeking an audience with the governor for over 6 months.
Governor Kim Reynolds, in her response to Joe Biden's State of the Union address, she said you shouldn't have to wake up
every morning and worry about the next thing the government is going to do to you, your business, or your children.
I've had a lot of sleepless nights worrying about what the Iowa Utilities Board is going to do to me.
Tronchetti says any pipeline could be sold and assurances wiped out, and his insurance underwriters won't guarantee him indemnity.
You know, when the ethanol industry first started, I was pretty skeptical.
Retired Cherokee County farmer Tom Dorr says the benefits outweigh the costs, and for better or worse, government and business are going all in on capturing carbon. A former president of the U.S. Grains Council and USDA Undersecretary for Rural Development during the Bush administration, Dorr helped provide funds to build out ethanol plants spurred by the RFS. His family have signed easements with Summit. Just like ethanol and wind turbines, he says pipelines are unique rural development opportunities that impact local schools, healthcare, real estate, and workforces.
All of these things collectively create significant economic growth that I think it's not responsible to dismiss it.
As Summit continues to seek cooperation, the Dakota Access controversy has provided a roadmap for all sides. Critics say taxpayers subsidize the mandated ethanol industry and shouldn't have to pay more to clean up associated pollution.
So we're going to fight the approval of it, and then if it is approved, we're going to take it to court. And like we've seen in many other pipeline fights, then we'll be fighting the construction.
For Market to Market, I'm Josh Bittner.